Hello again, brothers and sisters of IBW Loco 266. Here's my next video. In this video, I'm going to take a little time to talk about something that's probably been on a lot of minds in our local, as well as employees across the company. This video will be more on what our next contract negotiations is going to look like. If I'm in that position, I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to handle that situation. First off, I want to start off a little bit on what we ended on last video, talking about the contract. I just wanted to make the statement that any situation that we get into, and if there's a side agreement that someone is trying to bring to me, in my mind and my heart and the way I believe about our contract, I'm always going to push for protecting our contract. Yes, some of these side agreements for 410s, yeah, that makes a lot of sense for a lot of employees. California 9s works good for some employees. Things like that, I can see a justification for. But some of these other things that are going on out there or side agreements that have been made, I don't agree with because they're outside of our contract. Although those are outside of our contract allows for it, and it's not hurting our employees. It's actually a benefit to our employees. So anyway, going on to the negotiations that's coming up. This coming year, the only thing we have coming up is a wage opener. So in the last contract, they extended the existing contract and negotiated wages for the last 2 years. So we're going into the third year of this contract extension. So this year's supposedly to be opened up only for wage negotiations. And in my mind, in my feelings and the way I'm looking at things is this is the most opportune time to go in there and basically ask for the moon. Look at our economy and where it stands right now. Look at the cost of our fuel. Look at the cost of our food. Some of the things that I'm going to look at and bring up to them through my research is, you just look at Prop 206 back in 2016 and how minimum wage has risen from $8 and some cents to now close to $15 an hour. You're looking at between a 45 to 55, 60% increase in that minimum wage. So what has that done to our buying power? We make good money at SRP, right? But in this day and age, that money doesn't go as far as it did back then, before minimum wage rose and before inflation has gone through the roof. Speaking of inflation, they say we're at close to 9% right now. In reality, if we go back to the days in the 80s maybe, when they used to include all of your costs, fuel, your food, your housing, everything was included in that number. They've taken all that out. Why? To make the number look better. Is 9% better? No, it's not. So with that said, we should be able to go in there and ask for the moon. For me, people that are in management right now are afraid to put out numbers. I'm not afraid, because we at this point should be going in there making these suggestions to them that we should get nothing less than 15, 20%. And maybe settle for something around 11 or 12. I'm not afraid to say that. We probably should be going for 25%. Why? Because of inflation. If you don't get anything above 9%, you're going backwards. Okay? We've been doing that for way, way too long. 3%, 2.5%, 2.75%, 3.75% is not enough. Okay? And some may say, well, yeah, but inflation's not always been this high. No, maybe it hasn't on their books and what they're trying to help us believe. But in reality, inflation has been at a higher rate than what we're rising in our wages. So we're going backwards. Our buying power is being lost. Our dollar does not buy what it used to buy 5 or 6 years ago. And it's just going down more and more each day. So I'm not afraid to go in there. Of course, I'm going to do my homework, and I'll ask for help from the right people. Okay, maybe an analyst, someone that's an economist. We, as a union, pay memberships. We pay our dues to be able to go out and do that. Let's hire somebody that knows what they're talking about, and let's put it on paper so that when we go in and talk to the company, we're prepared for our demands. And when they look at what we have in front of them and have the justification for it, how can they turn away from it? One of the things that I hate to hear, and it happens every time we're getting ready to go into negotiations, is, well, APS got this, and TEP got this, and local such and such got this, and local this one got that. So we're not going to get anything near that, and maybe we'll be good at 3% this time around. And be careful, because we don't want to open up the contract, because then they're going to attack our pension and this, that, and the other. Well, the company's not going to do that. The company can't do that. First off, the pension they can't get rid of unless we agree to it, right? They can't just say we're going to take it away. It's already something that's in place. They have to be able to go to the government and prove that they cannot afford it. Well, if they can't afford it, how can they afford to give us an incentive pay each year? Even in the middle of COVID, when SRP was not getting payments from customers, they were able to give us an incentive program where they paid us out, paid us a bonus. So don't come back and tell me that you can't afford it, right? We are not like any other company out there. We are the third largest utility in the nation. They have the money, okay? We are a not-for-profit organization. This company was put together under Reclamation Act. The water side was put together to provide water to the water users of the valley. Later on, the electrical side, the district was put together to financially support the water side. So the company is not a company that answers to shareholders. They don't have to make that profit to please the shareholders, because we have none. We have a board. We have a board that approves or disapproves the suggestions or the things that that management brings before them. So when we go in and negotiate or make our demands for what we believe our employees deserve, we have to prove to them and justify why we're bringing those things to them. We don't go in there, in my mind, we're not going to go in there with shooting from the hip and just throwing numbers out there. We're going to come down and get the right people involved. We're going to have the right things on paper so that we can just basically hand it over to them and say, look, this is justified. This is what we need to get. And then let them decide on that, because there's really nothing to argue. The company knows they got to do something big coming up this year because of our situation. And we keep hearing, well, they're waiting to see if inflation goes down, so they're pushing out as far as they can. Well, they can't. Under the last agreement, when we extended, it said that negotiations for the wage opener had to begin on September 1st. To be able to put that into place by November 16th, when we're supposed to get our next raise. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We have to come up with an answer, our demands, and get an answer to them by that time. So we need to go in there prepared. We need to make the right suggestions, the right demands, knowing that we have the demands that we make justified on paper. Something that they can read and look at that is proven by an economist or whoever we choose to get that advice from and bring it to them for. So, like I said, I don't think, like probably the last 4 or 5, actually since I've been working here, all of the business managers that have been there have pretty much handled it the way I just told you, comparing us to the other companies out there, and APS, TP, Locals, SRP is nothing like any of those other companies. And we need to start treating them as that. And going in there and making, and my reason for doing this is not because we want to get, this huge raise for ourselves, but SRP also should see this as, you know what, this company has lost employees over the years, and even more recently, because employees are leaving because they can get jobs that are better for more money. And I know money's not everything. We have great benefits, but that is something that people chase after. So the company should be convinced that the best thing to do is make this company the best company in this nation, if not the world. And how do we do that? By providing the best wages, the best benefits, and drawing all the best employees to this company. You're going to get the highest quality employees when you have the best wages and the best benefits to offer them. and it gives you a huge group of people that you can choose from so that you can get those people in here. So my plan is to do that. I'm going to go in there and prove to the company that this is what they need to do. Let's make this company a place where everybody wants to come to work, and therefore you'll get all the greatest employees. You'll weed out those that aren't, and we'll move forward. This company will be a great company, somewhere where everybody wants to come to work. There's a lot more to it. This is just the beginning of slicing into that negotiations. But I just want to give you guys an idea of how I'm going to handle that. I'm not going to hold back any punches. I'm, like I told you in the last video, I'm not afraid to deal with management, not afraid to put them in the place where they have to realize what they need to do because it's the right thing to do. Not because, hey, they're going to get some points on their back because, hey, we held them down to this, or we got this guy to agree to this and then had the employees sign off on it. Well, it's not going to happen that way. We're going to go in there prepared. All of our guys are going to agree upon it before we ever sign anything. So again, thank you for coming on here and looking at my videos. Hopefully there's been some information that you wanted to hear. And I'm not just, blowing smoke. Those numbers that I put out there are real numbers. Something that I'm going to push for, and something that I'm going to hopefully work out with the right information, the right preparation, and go in there and make the demand. The demand that needs to be met. So hopefully these videos are helping you understand who I am and what I'm all about and how I'm going to handle things, and you'll hire me. You'll hire me to be your business manager to make this the best local, the strongest local, the united local that it should be, and then making our company the best company in the nation, if not the world. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it. There's no other really way that I could actually get out to you guys and talk to you. I'm willing to take phone calls. I'm willing to meet with anybody that it needs to be met with. I can meet with you on Zoom, Teams, whatever it takes, guys. I'm willing to do it. My phone number is on my letter. My email's on my letter. My website's on my letter. Get in contact with me if you have any questions. Please take the time to make those calls. I'll try to make as many calls as I can to get to you. But if you would call me and ask those questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Not to tell you what you want to hear, but to tell you how I feel and what I feel I'm going to do when I'm the business manager of Local 266. Thanks again. God bless.